About to drop some words you probably never thought you'd hear out of my mouth. What do you think, Bog? Should we tell them? We might fish a derb. The other night, full disclosure, so I went and fished a little Sunday night wildcat, man. It was a little benefit tournament. Lost, of course. So had 14 pounds, 3 fish, and lost to, I think, 15-8. So I got beat by about 1.5 pounds. But it was kind of fun to compete. Great group of guys. It was actually for the New Hope, I believe, high school fishing team. So that brings us to today's video, which has some beautiful fishing weather. You guys probably, I think years ago, you saw me actually pre-fish for one of the Roland Martin Marine series that I fished with my really good friend Donnie Bass. So I'm gonna take you out and show you kind of how I practice and how I don't catch fish basically when I practice. So I'm gonna show you my process, and I don't know, you might be interested. I'm interested. We'll see if we find some fish, and we'll see if we fish. So hit that like and subscribe button. Balls is going derb, dude. Yeah, it's never go full derb. So in a second, I'm gonna strap on this camera, but I'm gonna show you what I got rigged up. These are the baits I've been catching fish on. So I have a Nico rig right there, kind of a fluke rig, a little jig. It's a micro jig with actually my boy Jacob Wall's color in the boxer craw, stick bait with a 5/16. And then over here, this has been the juice, dude. The chatterbait mini, same size, just 2 different colors. Burner worm, little swimming worm, and then an ignite swim bait. Weather for the derb day is supposed to be sunny, clear, low wind, and hot. Very 100% different from today. So what I'm doing today is I'm looking for more of that grass line stuff because it's cloudy, it's nice, those fish will be off. I might be able to find some more stuff. They might get a little bit tighter when that sun comes out and stuff, but really it's a great day to look for fish because they'll get loose to that cover and I can see them on the graph more. I don't know about you, when I used to fish derbies, I always thought I had enough, you know, like I had enough spots, enough waypoints, enough fish located. And then you get to derby day and you're like, dude, I wish I would have found 10 more pods of fish, or I wish I would have found 10 more things like this. You can never have enough spots when it comes to the weekend, and when it comes to a big tournament coming out, a bunch of guys, they're gonna find stuff. Like these anglers are good. People know how to use their electronics and find stuff. So you need to have kind of an insurance policy, and that's what we're gonna try to create today. I think that's a very big one. Wow, we on him, boy. Yeah, and that's why you throw a bait with an open hook a couple times, just to just do that double check. Come in with like 3.5 pounds on 5 fish. Not a great big one, but did exactly what he was supposed to do. So what we're gonna do is make a few more casts. I'm gonna put a new trailer on here. Actually, this is a good opportunity. One thing I wanted to do is try a different chatterbait color and see if it makes any difference. So I got another 1/2 ounce rigged up, just in like a whitish kind of color. So we're gonna slang that out there. So I'm in look mode. I guess I should be in haircut mode, but see how it goes from like dingy to like super bright right there? Now what we're gonna look for, see that's a bass right there, but we're looking for groups. Looks like there might be a couple right there, but you can see how that bottom change. You can see how it changes out here too. That brighter return is definitely a harder bottom, and then it makes that grass edge nice and tight too. I'm gonna try something a little bit different. I have a prototype. This is a Gambler Komodo, but it's the downsized version. The Komodo's pretty big, and I'm obviously fishing a pretty small chatterbait, but it sets up the same as that spunk shad where you're just kind of threading it on. It's a straight tail style bait, and I got it in green pumpkin, which I don't know how I feel about right now, but we're gonna test it out. But it looks pretty good, right? We'll see if it works. Here, that's a good one. I think. Yeah, that's the kind we're looking for. We're done fishing here. Get in here. Probably shouldn't boat flow that. That's a 5.5 right there. Like that, Bog? So that was on the new, the Gambler Komodo. So I put a little like chartreuse on the tips right there, and how about it, boys? Let's get her back. All right, we're done fishing here. We're We're gonna dick around with this game. That was a good one. That's what we're looking for. We caught two. We caught one little one like right here. Caught that bigger one. What's interesting is it's really cloudy and I'm marking them off the edge, but I'm catching them more in the grass. So I'm almost wondering when that sun comes out on Saturday if they're gonna shift on out. But that's something you gotta kind of keep in mind with all these spots that you find, how it's gonna change and evolve with the weather. That's a sizable critter. I should not have done that. And, oh, that's like a 6-pounder. Okay, we're done. We are done. TUN done. Yeah, that's a freaking stud, dude. I should not have done that. I'm like checking these fish. Oh, and he came off. Nice job, Mike. That was like a 7-pounder. Now I want to cast again, and I can't. Shit. What did we do? Got out the old spinner. That actually might, I don't know if that's a largemouth or a spot, but it's big. Yeah, that's a big largemouth. Look out, folks. Did not mean to do that, but did that. I've been doing that a lot today. I saw these fish suspended, and I have this little hover style rig that gamblers coming out with that's pretty naughty. And just throw it out. There we go. It's a nice like 4.5. About 4. All right, let's get her back. Bog, you are so fired up. I might make one more cast because I think that's, God, no pun intended, a fluke. Obviously, the goal of practicing is to find fish, right? But the reality is you really don't want to hook them. That's one of the biggest mistakes I think a lot of tournament guys make. Now, we hooked a few today, but it's on new stuff, and I want to see what the size is, and I'll literally hook one fish and leave. Like, or maybe two. If they're rats, I'll hook a couple, see if you kind of weed through them, and then you get a bigger bite. But on stuff that I already know, I'm not hooking fish. And there's a few different ways to do that. Sometimes guys bend hooks and stuff, but you end up like wasting baits on like chatterbaits and stuff like that. What I would recommend is, one, there's a thing called a toddy stopper. A gambler makes it, and literally Val invented it because his buddy Todd fishes the Toyota series with him, and Todd would always be hooking fish like when they're practicing, like, and he's a co-angler. So it's basically like a little like rubber bullet weight, and it can go over any active single hook presentation. So chatterbait, spinner bait, a jig, things along those lines. The other thing that you can do is take the hooks off, right? You're fishing a crankbait or something, just take the hooks off because you're going to feel them grab it and feel that tension. What I'm actually going to do right here is what's called a hitchhiker. And it's basically this little, it's like what you would use like a screw lock kind of deal, like a centering pin. And you can do it with Texas rig stuff, so flipping, punching, dragging a worm, and I'm actually going to drag a worm with it. First thing I'll tell you though is it's a lot easier to thread it into the bait before you tie it on, because there's a little like loop right there and your line can fall out. So basically all you do is, I got a little Gambler Ace right here, and I'm going to thread that thing on just like that. And basically what you achieve is you have a bait that doesn't have a hook, right? But you can still feel the bite. So I got that thing in there, then the eyelet just sticks out, and you tie it on just like you tie it on. You can fish through the same stuff you'd want to fish that Texas rig, get a bite, feel them, kind of feel how long they hold on, and usually you can tell, especially with a Texas rig worm, like how big they are. It allows you to shake those fish off and come back and catch them again when you actually need them. All right, so I got one on right now. That feels like a pretty good See how he's pulling the line, dude? That's a good one right there. And then he just dropped it. So, good deal. That was fun. See? Does nothing to the bait. Doesn't hook the fish. You can even see the tooth marks. You see that? That was a pretty sizable critter, dude. That was cool. We are gone. Giovanni. That's a big one. We gotta leave these first little boxed up. That's 4-pounder. All right, time to go. Last thing is plan XYZ, basically. So I noticed some mats when I got here, and there's some hydrilla growing up, and of course I'm thinking about punching mats. It's supposed to be a high sun, a hot day, so I'm gonna go make some drops, and even if I catch some little ones, I know that there's some fish in the mats. It's more just to get a signal, hey, this is a pattern I can run. If by say like 11 o'clock, 11:30, I got nothing going on, you just swing for the fences, you go put that big weight on, and you go drop on them. So I can tell already this is gonna be hit or miss, because a lot of this is fresh eelgrass that's just blown over the top of it, and you want like anything that's on top of the, because the mats aren't like high, but anything that when you're flipping, you want it to be situated there for a minute. You don't want it to just show up, and a lot of this stuff is fresh. So, oh well, speaking of that, that's a bite. Let's see if he'll come out. I don't even know if he's still on there. He is not, but that was definitely a bite. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. I think it's gonna be very spotty. Like you catch one here, you catch one there, and then you might get lucky. But I guess that's the game if everything goes to hell. Well, my homies, that's practice. Wish me luck. So I'm gonna try to shoot a video. The only problem is it's been super hot, so my GoPro's overheat, so I might just, you know, let it go, because the last thing I want to be doing is futzing around with this guy right here and trying to capture video when I'm trying to scramble around and catch fish. But that's my process. That's the process I used way back when I was fishing the BFLs. Got a couple seconds, actually a third and a second, I think. Fished a lot of wildcat stuff, a lot of open stuff back on Lake Okeechobee, and that was my process. Now I'm using the graph a lot more because Guntersville sits up like that. It allows me to kind of hedge and use that graph and really cover a lot more water instead of having to fish through it, which makes you a lot more efficient. But in the end, you still got to kind of dip your stick in it, you know, and test it out, see if that fish is a fish, if it'll bite, how it's set up. So you still got to do like the old school OG fishing stuff, but it definitely like speeds up the process. And even if you're not using your graph to find fish, I highly recommend doing that little waypoint trick. You know, mark where you caught them, mark where the boat was set up, create some kind of system so that you're not scrambling around tournament day going, oh, where was I the other day? How did they set up? Like what was I doing? Which direction was I casting? If you have that information set up in the graph, just like it's a log, you can just go and refer to it. It's all right in front of you. Easy peasy, right? But hit that like and subscribe button. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna give Bog a pat for you real quick, but we will see you post tournament. I'll give you an update, let you know how it went. Tight lines, homies.